Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this special episode of Really Dicey. My name is Manny, and I'm here with.
And Peregrine, lead writer, and that's still on Dune Adventures in the Imperium from Modiphius, available now.
And today we're going to talk about the newest source book for the Dune RPG that's been coming out from Modiphius called Sand and Dust. It's about 156 pages,
Yeah.
And this focuses just on Arrakis.
Yes. Yeah, we were actually very good. This is where Modiphius is very good and very patient with me and the team as a writer, because it's originally meant to be a 128-page source book, and we got all of this stuff in, and I had to say to Modiphius, can I have a few more pages? Because when we got it into layout, it turns out it's a little bit bigger than we expected, and they were great. It's like, no, we can work that in. That's good. We can fit that into the budget. So yeah, we've packed a lot of Arrakis into this book. It was the obvious one to start with, given that we focused initially on focusing on adventures in Arrakis and around Dune, because as we said before, it's called Dune for a reason. But what we also wanted to do is give people some detail on things, all the iconic things like the Fremen, everything. So we've tried with this, and it's the thing we're trying to do with all the books, is to give a solid amount for GMs and players, because you often find, particularly as a GM, you're buying all the books because nobody else wants to shell out for the GM secret book or the adventure. And as a player, you're also going, I want to get more stuff for my character. And you're just waiting for the big player's advanced guide or something to come out. So what we're trying to do is put a little bit of something for everyone in here. So one of the features of this book is if you're playing a Fremen, this is your Fremen source book. So we've got extra traits, extra talents, extra details on creating Fremen and how to create your own siege, similar to how we do the initial house construction aspect of things. So it's really just to build out those players. Not that you can't play them with what's in the core book, obviously, but to really get into that character type. And as we go through, hopefully all of these faction characters that we do are going to get their turn to get a big expansion. So obviously, Sand and Dust is the time for the Fremen's turn.
So, Arrakis, I mean, it's a very important planet. How is information put together exactly? Like, I'm trying to compare it to like if someone did a book about Earth, and like how would you put that information? How would you describe this planet exactly? How does that information put together?
Well, we've done a mixture of things. I mean, our focus on all the books is to try and keep things to give you something inspiring for adventures. So we didn't want to, I mean, we have to go through some of the history of Arrakis and things, but I usually think back on books that I read and think, where is the stuff where you think, what's the bit that inspires you for more adventures? What's the bit that tells you, oh, there's a cool thing over there and there's a cool thing over there? What I'm tempted to think, when you're dealing with a planet and you say 158 pages is not very big to do a whole planet, even then. So what we focus on mostly is trying to build the structure. So you have a solid skeleton to build everything on. We've already built some of that structure into the core book. And so this is a book that shows you a little bit of why we've done that and how we've come forward for that. So where we have the detail of the eras in the Dune setting, which we list early in the core book, we've now used those as the skeleton to hang the history of Dune on. So we go, what is Arrakis like in the time of Muad'Dib? What is Arrakis like in the time of the Butlerian Jihad, in those set eras? So we've broken the history down a bit. So if you focus your campaign on a slightly different era, then you can just pick up the Arrakis Sourcebook and go, all right, what's happening then? Right, that's what I need to know. But of course, you put all that together and you've got a complete history of the planet as it was, as it's been seen and as it's been used by the Imperium, which essentially is nobody really cared about it until someone found spice. Then it became the most important place in the universe. So we want to give that background because it's also, as I've said before, I think in some of these conversations, for all its danger and its brutality, Arrakis is a beautiful place, and it's one of the things I loved about the new movie. It opens with Chani telling you how beautiful the place is, what it's like when you watch the spice glistening on the desert sand early in the morning. So we wanted to get into that. We want to give a bit of detail on what are the deserts like, what's it like to live on this planet. And then we get, of course, into all the big adventure stuff as well. We've got a whole detail on Arrakeen and Carthag And again, detailing a whole city could take a book. So what we've done is taken the skeleton approach. We've broken it into the most important areas. And that lets you as the GM or the players even can start putting their own stuff into this. So we've given you enough information to go, right, well, I want to put a bar in here, or I want to put, a strange club in here. Where's the best place to put it? Oh, right, I can see that would probably go in that district, or it would go in that place, or whether it belongs in that city or not. Plus giving you, of course, a whole load of detailed areas in those cities. So you've already got some stuff to pull out. You don't want your players to go, we'll visit Carthage. What do we see? And the GM going, I've got a whole chapter on this and I don't know. So we've got lots of things, the Colosseum, we've got the Harkonnen Palace, we've got all kinds of bits and pieces that GM can go, right, well, as your ornithopter passes over the top, you can see the towers of this, you can see the shape of this and distant, you can see the streets are a bit like that, to give the GM all of that general information as well to get through.
Players, they love character options. They love new character options in
Yeah.
books. Can you detail a little bit about what's available in this book?
Well, we've got a little bit two particular things. Obviously, as I said before, we've got Fremen. Stuff gets really expanded, so there's a load of new talents. You can have someone, for instance, who knows how to make a Christ knife. I'm a big fan of not dividing things up into NPC abilities and player abilities. It's like I want to let the players have all the same options, because there's some really cool things. I don't want to say, NPCs make the Christ knives. You never know how to make that. When you're a Fremen, you might be one of the people who knows how to do that. So let's make that an ability. Let's give that as an option. Of course, it may bring its own problems of the tribe saying, you can't go adventuring. You're one of the people who knows how to make Christ knives. So swings and roundabouts. But there's a load of extra bits and pieces for that. We've also got, for everybody, the Arrakis Sourcebook gives us a big opportunity to have a whole chapter on spice, basically. So what it is, how it's harvested, how it works, what it does to you, and some of the details about that. And as part of that, we've added these new special abilities called spice talents. Now we're drifting towards some of the weird special abilities that, obviously you can't quite play Muad'Dib. He's going to be a whole other level of this. But if you want characters who can get these weird visions or prescient abilities if they take on too much spice, you can now do that with these. You get these spice talents, and as long as you've got a spice asset that you have to burn basically to fire up this, you have to power your talents with spice. But as long as you have some to hand and you can make use of that, then you can do these weird abilities. So some nice extra bits and pieces there for everyone, as well as just the Fremen characters.
What are besides those setting materials, are there any other game master tools, or is there anything like a bestiary in this book?
Well, we've not got. There's not too much alive on Arrakis to have a go at, apart from the Fremen. And of course, as we've said before with worms, I've very much avoided the idea of going, and here's the stats for a worm. It's a level 3 fighter with a +10. It's like, no, if you meet one, it swallows you. It's that simple. It doesn't need any stats. It is, it is the god of the desert. You don't, one does not question the word of a god. It wants to eat you, you're gone. It's a force majeure. So, that's the only real beast in the estuary. So apologies to anyone who was expecting purple worm stats. But what we do have for the GM is a lot of detail about new campaigns and how to run adventures on Arrakis. Because we see this with some people say, but it's basically a big desert planet with some harvesting. What adventures are there? Well, buckle in. Because what we've gone through here, detail on the politics of spice, how it all fits together, who's trying to do what to who. And we've also added, is another thing we'll be expanding, is 2 new options and further options as well for creating different campaigns on Arrakis. So instead of just going, as we've set up in the core book, your elite agents of a house, with the source book here, we've got detail for if you want to play a pure Fremen campaign, so from completely the other direction, or you could play a group of people serving a merchant, or you could play a campaign where you're all spice smugglers and you're not attached to a house. So we're trying to give you these extra bits that go, if playing agents of a house isn't your thing, you want to do something else that suits Arrakis, here's that and how to run that for you as well. Here's some setup details. Here's some of the scenario hooks you might come across, some of the problems and trials that might come up in that campaign, and let you carry on and dive through that way. Now, all our adventures still assume you're agents of a house, because that is our core thing. But a lot of those can be adapted quite easily to, because pretty much everyone is hungry for spice. And so if getting hold of spice is one of the ideas of the adventure, then, no problem. So yeah, that will work with most things anyway. But yeah, we wanted to expand on some of the campaign ideas, and let, investigate other little areas of the world that you might want to work on to come through.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the art direction. This looks like there's two covers, and both of them are superb. I couldn't, I don't know, I wouldn't know which one to choose. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, we have Katya, our art director, did tireless work on this, and she has a look. We sort of discuss what's coming up in the book. I throw some ideas at her. She goes away with those. She makes it her own, does some, and then comes out with artists. And usually she throws, "I've got this. What do you think?" "Oh my God, that's amazing!" So essentially, this is all Katya putting it together. She's done some incredible. She's just found some incredible artists, and it's just awesome. And, I still, I don't know where to start with art. There are things where I will see things, and they'll say, "This is a draft, obviously." And that draft, I could put that on the cover, and then they'll have to explain to me, "No, this bit's wrong," and is it really? Oh, I suppose so. Yeah, but I don't have the eye for it at all. But as always, what we're always looking to do with the art is to inspire people with new adventure ideas and things like that, so that we want every picture to tell a story. Art is kind of the window into the world. It's the your imagination is powerful enough to see the stuff in your own right, but every now and again you get these little windows to see what's going on in Arrakis, and that's where the art comes in. So hopefully all of these should evoke that feeling of what Arrakis is like, what adventuring on Arrakis is like, and hopefully make you look at a few things and go, "That looks a cool scene," or "That looks a cool character. I want to be that guy. I want to play that character." And that's the inspiration we're trying to work for on this. And I think she's done an incredible job. All of our artists are brilliant. So yeah, and more of that as it comes. And we had, again, carrying on the idea for the collector's editions. Those were very popular with us. So we loved doing them as well. So Mark Wickington, who was doing the layout for this book, he was given the whole, "Well, can you do us another collector's cover?" Obviously, we knew we wanted to have a sandworm as part of that, and he went away and buried himself in all the same graphic stuff that I honestly don't understand. The same way that Chris Webb created some of our other covers, has done, and came out with this awesome sandworm, and on the back of the ornament, the background and the layers of sand, and yeah, it's just amazing. So as long as they continue to be popular, we'd love to do more of these collector's editions. We really do push the printing on these. There have been quite a few difficulties to try and make sure all the things are as they are, because these designs push the limits of what's possible with printing a cover like this. So we've had to work out very carefully how we can do these, but that's the sort of level of detail and skill that we've had from our graphic artists to do this. It just blows me away every time. I used to sit with words on a page, feeling very pleased with myself, and then I see what the artists are doing, and it just makes everything just come to life. Just amazing.
So I noticed also that there's a bunch of new NPCs also in this book.
Yeah.
Probably listing all of them will that'll be a very different, longer video. But is there any, maybe one or two that you're happy to see in this book, or maybe the most proud of?
Most proud of thing. It's interesting because you get to. This is one of those books. I'd say it sounds a bit like cliche, but I think I'm proud of all of it, because you get to the end. I mean, my thing is always more of an overview thing. So you get that wonderful thing that comes together where you get this book in your hands. Originally I've sort of put together the outline and what I'd like to see in it. And then you get stuff come back from your writers and you go, "Yeah, you just got what I was talking about there. That's brilliant." And you look at all the book and you think, "Yeah, I feel I've got everything I want to," because you have to look at it from a customer's point of view and think, if I was just playing Dune, if I didn't have the option to make my own books for this, because this is the best thing about it, I love Dune. It's like I'm making my own role-playing game for this, and people are then helping me with the art and the layout and all kinds of other things. So you also approach it as a customer and think, if I was buying this book, what would I expect to see in it? What would I be thinking? Oh, I want to see some detail on that. This is where we come to things like we want to expand the Fremen, because we know the first thing players are going to want to go is, what extra stuff can I get for my Fremen character? Here you go. What extra stuff can my character's really into the spice thing. What can they can get this bit? GM saying, well, where did Arrakis come from in the first place? Right. How do I fit it into my campaign? I'll check out that chapter. So I'm proud of all of it. So I love with some bits what we're trying to do with all of these is give you the basis for the GM to leap into their own incredible adventures with it. This is always, all of our books and all of our supplements are platforms for your imagination to take it. So, this is why we have all these NPCs. Some, we've got Fremen craftsmen and ornithopter pilots. They don't sound that exciting initially, but we want to make sure that work is done for the GM. So say, oh, here's your pilot. Oh, and I've got a couple of adventure seats for them if I want to turn this pilot into something new. But otherwise, or if the player does suddenly go, I attack the pilot. Why? You're in mid-flight. I've decided it's what my character would do. Really? I bet you haven't got any stats for it. Yes, I have, actually. I've even got a picture of her as well. So it's those things, because we know that as a GM, if we give you the foundation, you can go crazy and take your own campaign. But basically, that's the essence of this, is to give you the tools you need to do the campaign you want to play, rather than us tell you, oh, you play games on Arrakis like this, and you must do this, and you must do that. It's like just try and give you everything you need to dive in.
Okay, excellent. This sounds excellent. Is there anything about this book that I haven't asked you about yet?
Oh, I have to look inside and double check. Essentially, we've gone through all the bits. We've also got, of course, an adventure. The amazing Rachel Wilkinson did this one for us, which is quite a big deal in this one because it's about a water shortage on Arrakis. So there's a lot of chaos breaking out. And this is one of the things that we've been very lucky with this state on, is that obviously we've got to try and follow the canon as much as we can. So we can't break with established events at all. So it was really good of them to let us do something like this, quite a major event, having a big water shortage on Arrakis. So we had to work out how that was going to work and what was going on, and how that could be resolved in the game, and what the reason was. But it was really good that they allowed us to push the envelope a little bit more with things and add these little events into things, rather than just say, well, we haven't written about like the book, so it can't happen, because that that's given us an awful lot of adventure possibilities and things for that. So there's great adventure. So you've got another one as well to get you going. We're very much excited about trying to get as many adventures out there as we can. We've now got the 2 PDF adventures out, and we've got more on the way coming out as well. So we want to really support people's games and give you, so you don't look around and go, oh, I'd like to play Dune, but I don't know where to start. So, well, pick one of these and you're off. So and then you go, oh, we've got any more of those? Yes, we have. Here you go, because it's adventures that keep people playing. Because it is a complicated setting to write adventures for. You've got a lot of stuff going. There's a lot of canon stuff happening. Politics are always very complicated to write, because you don't quite know what the players are going to do. So a lot of political adventures end up with you going, and depending on what they do, stuff happens at the end. Maybe they'll die, I don't know, because there's so many variables in play. So we want to give GMs a lot of that sort of support and help. If they want to run any sort of adventure, hopefully we'll have something out there that they can go, oh, that was what I was after doing. Oh, and they got an adventure for that. Well, that will give them a start. And hopefully those can help show people how they can use all this material to create more adventures of their own. So, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you, Andrew, for taking the time to talk to us about this book. It's out now on PDF and on.
We're out on PDF and in print at the moment. We've got that. It's just come into the warehouse, so it should have gone out to all the pre-orders by now. That's why I've got my copy. It should actually be in shops, I think, as well now. And I believe you do get a PDF with the book as well. So we've got a little code in the back for those. And yeah, we're very pleased to enroll on the next supplement we have out is Agents of Dune, which is going to be our big campaign box set starter thing. So much stuff in it. Can't wait to show you what that's coming. But though, that's that's in process at the moment, and so much stuff in that box. I think you're really going to love it. Hopefully, we'll have some pre-orders and detail coming up soon on that one. And then I think we've announced, I think, Masters of Dune, which will be the follow-up to that. It's a big campaign book that really takes you across all of the Imperium. And then we have, House of the Landsraad following on from that, which is where we start moving off Dune and into the Imperium as a whole. As we're gradually building up, as everything as it comes out, gradually getting bigger and bigger with the setting as we go. So plenty of stuff on the way.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. So viewers, stay tuned. We'll be talking more about those future products when it's ready, when it's time to talk about it. And everyone out there, be safe, take care of each other, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day, everyone.